So I'm going to be reviewing the CX Racing LS1 swap for the Z32. Just got it in today, finally, after having to deal with FedEx. So, you know, typical eBay parts packaging here. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. Okay. So it looks like we got the headers over there, we got the pan right here. At least that's packaged up fairly well by the looks of it. Open, okay. It's just a gasket, pair of gaskets. No superfluous packing here, it's all about efficiency. So these are the actual motor mounts. The part that goes to the engine. These are the parts that go to the frame. It's all stainless, looks like almost 1/4 inch stainless. Doesn't look terribly straight. Stuff's probably slapped together pretty fast. Looks like pretty hot weld though. Not that I'm a pro welder. Oh look, this one's actually taped up. How fancy. This one doesn't look straight, but it almost looks like they mint it that way. It's bent. You can tell it's been bent in a break on the sides there. And the gap looks a little more even. Oh, what's that gonna be? That's the transmission cross member. I don't know why they would make this out of stainless. Seems kind of gimmicky. I don't think it's necessary, but the corrosion resistance will be cool if it's quality stainless. Oh, the slot's actually for adjustability, or are they there so that it fits and they can slap it together in like 10 minutes? That's the question. So, I know this thing is not going to focus that well, but the cuts are really rough. You got to expect that from a kit this cheap. This whole kit, the total cost with this kit, we got everything unwrapped now. The total cost right now on eBay is $1,253 shipped. Shipping is free at that price. You get these motor mounts, you get this pan with a pickup, and this pan, you have to know this. It's got -6 AN fittings, and you can't use a normal oil filter. And then it's just got kind of a generic oil drain plug down there. And another thing I want to note with this guy is that I could be wrong about this, but I think LS pans normally have a couple threaded holes inward where the transmission bolts go through into it. I could be totally wrong about that. I can't remember offhand right now, but it doesn't look like it has any horizontal threaded holes in it, so that might be something that's an issue later. I do love how thick that flange is. It's like 3/4 of an inch thick, so that shouldn't be warped. That looks pretty nice. Onto the headers. So the headers, overview, they look pretty good. Looks kind of like a pretty cheap stainless. They're definitely not polished. Not that that really matters to me. If you cared, you could polish these up pretty quickly out of the box. They're very clean. Obviously, it's all just fresh metal. They come with what looks like not stainless V-band. These come with O2 sensor block-offs, which is pretty nice. I've been wanting to get a couple of those just for emergencies. The welds all look pretty nice. Here's inside the collector. There's a good look in there. Nothing too spectacular. It doesn't have like a whatever you call it, like a merge spike in there or anything fancy. But they look pretty clean. Pretty solid welds all the way around. The flanges again are pretty thick. Here's come on, baby. Here's my streamlight for comparison. Nearly as thick as my pinky. These look pretty straight. I gave them a quick eyeball. They seem pretty true. They almost actually look like they're milled. They kind of have mill marks on them, so maybe they mill these after they weld them, which would be really kick-ass. They fully weld them inside, as you should, and then it looks like they grind them down to kind of minimize the slag. So that's pretty cool, CX Racing. What's funny about the headers is that LS Supra. So I guess they didn't have to specially design headers for the 300, which is cool for them. That minimizes their cost a little bit, which is probably part of why this whole kit is so damn cheap. It's $1,200. You get all this swag. Damn, bro. The motor mounts, I thought were supposed to be side specific. When I was looking at the kit install pics, it had these labeled with a little piece of masking tape, left hand, right hand. They look identical to me. I can't see a difference. I can probably measure them out and get a better idea of that. They look pretty much the same. As you can see, these holes aren't very uniform. They're just kind of hogged out in a hurry. But it is a cool design. Excuse me. Because you get a lot of adjustability with these things. And then these things also are slotted out to give you a little bit of side-to-side play. And then obviously these look left and right hand specific, so I'll have to figure that one out because these are not labeled either. Those aren't labeled, these aren't labeled. That doesn't need to be labeled. So talking about the cost of this whole kit, as I said earlier, it's $12.53 for the whole kit. You get engine mounts, tranny mount, pan, headers, pickup tube. What you do not get, what you need to run this, just to make all of this work, you need an oil filter relocation kit to make this pan work, or you're not going to have an oil filter, and you're obviously going to need a drive shaft. Not to mention a transmission mount, if you don't already have a T56 transmission mount. So, bare minimum to get this running, you're going to bolt your headers on. Can you run it like that? I guess, sure, if you're crazy. Number one, the O2 sensors aren't going to read properly because they're so close to the end. They're going to get a lot of fresh air intrusion in there, and that's going to screw up your O2 sensor reading. You're going to run crazy rich. So that's not good. So you at least need some short dumps, maybe like a 1.5 foot dump that comes back, just so you're not getting fresh air in there screwing up your sensors. So number one is going to be the exhaust. Number two is going to be the oil filter relocation kit. A CX Racing oil filter relocation block, which looks like this, is going to cost you between $40 and $50. You have lines go into this. You've got your oil filter filtering oil, and then it goes on back. And then these are like a oil feed on a turbo or a supercharger. Now these bad boys just have a soft, chintzy little O-ring that's not even properly fitted to the fitting. And they're expecting that to keep oil from leaking out. So these are going to get epoxied in here. I'm going to epoxy the shit out of these guys. Might even JB weld them in here. I do not want those leaking. So that takes care of your oil filtration. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need an actual mount for your T56 if you don't already have one. I went ahead and just got the energy suspension T56 mount from Summit. These, I think, they're like $30 on Summit, but you end up paying like $5 or $10 shipping, so I think I ended up paying like $40 for this stupid thing. You could also just get a stock mount. I believe a stock mount will work, but these, it's poly, it'll never break. Remember with energy suspension, the black ones have graphite actually mixed in with the poly, so it's supposed to be somewhat self-lubricating. It's supposed to squeak less. The red stuff has no graphite in it, and they're more prone to squeak, especially if you install them dry. So in the next video, you're going to actually see the kit going on the car, not like in, super Mighty Car Mods detail, but I'll be going over all the difficulties I have with it, the hardware I have to buy. So this was just the unboxing, and then the video following the install video is going to just be a full review synopsis. Could try to make kind of a more condensed video that just maybe shows a little bit of the unboxing and then a little bit of the install. And that'll be it.